Have you ever felt pulled in two different directions, like your passion is on fire, but invisible walls keep blocking your path? That's the energy we're stepping into with this rare and powerful Mars Saturn Neptune alignment. And this isn't just another transit, it's a cosmic tension point that can either ignite your purpose or leave you questioning what's real and what's illusion. Welcome to my channel. I'm Intuitive Astrologer Brandi Khan, and my ultimate goal is to help you reach what I call stellar alignment. And that means living with intention, moving with purpose, and trusting that the universe is co-creating with you every step of the way. Today, we're talking about a powerful and potentially challenging transit. Mars in Libra will be opposing the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries, and that will be exact on August the 8th. So Mars is the planet of action, passion, and drive, and Mars will move into the air sign of Libra on August the 6th, forming a grand air trine with Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. But around the same time, Mars will also be activating the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at the first degree of Aries by opposition. So we've got Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of structure and discipline. And then we've got Neptune, which is the planet of dreams, transcendence, and illusion, facing off with Mars. And with this opposition, there could be obstacles that come up. But this could be a moment for you where action meets resistance. And this can create a push-pull dynamic between what you want to do and what you're allowed to do, and also what feels unclear or out of reach for you. Now, something that jumped out to me about this configuration is that Mars will be at the first degree of Libra, and Saturn and Neptune will be at the first degree of Aries, and they will all be activating the Aries point. In astrology, the Aries point is tied to all 0-degree points of cardinal signs, and it's a sensitive area associated with public visibility. So if we're thinking about world events, it's possible that this transit could put things in motion in a really dramatic way. And how this energy unfolds will depend on how the energy will be expressed. So during this time, it's possible that we see people pushing against authority figures who are not using their power responsibly and speaking out against those authority figures. Also, those same authority figures could try to blur the line between what's real and what's an illusion, and the truth could be revealed. Also, there could be a tug of war between the energies of Saturn and Neptune and the fire sign of Aries, with an escalation of conflict, instead of leaning into the energy of Mars and Libra, which is about compromise and diplomacy. But at the same time, the inverse is also possible. Diplomacy and compromise could be chosen over escalation. Let's hope for that. It's all about how people decide to work with the energy at their disposal. And this is something important that I really want you to take away with you today. Always remember, we are not being victimized by the planets, not ever. But it is our responsibility to co-create our reality with the planetary energy that's available to us. And this energy, it's not here to punish you. It's here to guide you and refine you and awaken you. So I want you to see and think of obstacles as opportunities with this transit. And if you encounter an obstacle or a challenge, take a new approach and think of a creative way to get around it. That's using that energy of Uranus. And when you understand how this transit might show up in your life, you can work with the energy rather than being blindsided by it. And that's where your power is. Awareness is your leverage. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how this Mars, Saturn, Neptune alignment will impact each rising sign. And you'll get clarity on the themes that it activates in your chart. You'll know what to watch out for and how to move through this energy consciously and empowered. So let's dive in. Aries rising. This is a major moment of tension between how you define yourself and how you relate to others. A push to reclaim your energy from draining relationships or unclear dynamics might be your focus during this time. And it's your job to work with this energy and not to fight against it. And that's what I'm here to support you with. So Aries rising. Mars and Libra will be in your 7th house of relationships, contracts, and one-on-one dynamics. And the spotlight will be on how you show up in partnerships, romantic, professional, or even long-term friendships. There may be tension, a sense of urgency, or frustration around how others are responding to you or how you're giving versus receiving in your relationships. Now, Saturn and Neptune will be conjunct in the sign of Aries in your 1st house, and that's the house of self, your identity, and your physical body. And this energy can really stir up some intense inner and outer conflict. So during this time, this energy could manifest with you feeling misunderstood, unseen, or invisible in your close relationships. You also might question who you really are versus who others expect you to be. There also may be exhaustion from people pleasing, from over-compromising, or emotional entanglements. And it's also possible that there could be relationship tension that exposes deeper identity confusion or insecurity. And finally, you also may be feeling a desire to really assert yourself, but you feel a little bit foggy or doubtful or blocked when you try to do this. So here's how you can work with this cosmic setup instead of against it. So I want you to recommit to your truth. So you may have outgrown roles that you've played in relationships, and I want you to let your actions, represented by Mars, reflect the version of you that Saturn is shaping and Neptune is softening. So don't chase clarity from others. I want you to cultivate it within. And if you're waiting on someone else to define you or to validate your worth, it's time to pull that power back into yourself, Aries rising. Also, watch your energy output. Neptune in the 1st house can make you extra sensitive, and Mars in the 7th may stir relational drama. So by all means, protect your peace. Also, ground yourself before reacting. This isn't a great time to start a major relationship battle, but it is the time to take note of what's no longer sustainable for you. And finally, be kind, okay? Be kind to your body and your nervous system. With Saturn and Neptune in your 1st house, physical fatigue, boundaries, and burnout are all real themes. So don't push through. I want you to pause and realign. And for those of you Aries rising people out there who are parents, here are some parenting tips, okay? This energy might show up as identity fatigue. You may feel pulled in so many directions that you really lose a sense of who you are beyond your roles. So this is a beautiful time to show your children what it means to return to self and set healthy boundaries and to communicate from a centered place. Let them see that saying no or needing space is a natural part of living in integrity. So overall, Aries rising, this transit is about choosing yourself with clarity, not out of ego, but out of deep alignment with who you are becoming. You are not a victim of these planetary energies. You are a co-creator. And when you understand how this opposition will be operating in your life, you can move with the current instead of against it. Taurus rising. This opposition will create a powerful pull between your outer productivity and your inner healing, between doing and being, effort and surrender. And it's going to be your job to work with this energy and not fight against it. And that's what I'm here to support you with. So Taurus rising, Mars in Libra will be activating your 6th house of work, health, daily responsibilities. So you're likely going to feel a push to get things done, to organize, fix, manage, and take control. And Saturn and Neptune will be conjunct in the sign of Aries in your 12th house. And that is the most hidden, mystical, and inward-facing part of your chart. It's also the realm of the subconscious mind. And we can also see clues about isolation, spiritual growth, and surrender. So here's how this tension could show up in your life. You might be feeling burnt out or exhausted, even though there's so much that you feel like you have to do. You may also be struggling to keep up with daily demands while your energy feels low, foggy, or scattered. There's also the potential for conflict with a boss or authority figure or colleagues that don't quite see things your way. And finally, work or health issues could be coming to the surface to reveal deeper patterns that you've been avoiding. So Mars wants action, Saturn wants boundaries, and Neptune wants rest. And your job is to navigate all three. So how can you work with this energy and not fight against it? So the first thing I want you to do, Taurus rising, is to slow down and listen. If your body or spirit are calling for rest, don't override it. Mars in the 6th may want to push, but Saturn and Neptune in the 12th say only sustainable effort will last. Also, reevaluate your routines. Are your daily habits truly nourishing, or are they just performative? And create rhythms that support both your physical well-being and your emotional or spiritual peace. You can also set boundaries with your own sense of perfectionism. So Saturn in the 12th is asking you to address your inner critic and not to allow guilt, shame, or martyrdom to drive your productivity. Also, I want you to prioritize alone time and reflection and spiritual connection. Even 15 minutes of quiet can realign your nervous system. This is the perfect time for meditation and prayer or dream work. And finally, watch out for escapism, okay? Because Neptune in the 12th can tempt you to check out emotionally. So I want you to stay grounded and to remember that rest is not escape, rest is power. And for those of you Taurus risings who are parents, I want you to remember this transit might make you feel like you're operating on a low battery or low fuel. So you may be trying to show up for everyone, but your own emotional or spiritual needs are being ignored. So this is a beautiful time to model balance between doing and being for your children, and let them see you take care of your body and your inner world, and teach them that rest is not laziness. It's a sacred rhythm of life. So overall, Taurus rising, this Mars Saturn Neptune transit is a call to align your external efforts with your internal wisdom. And remember, you don't have to prove your worth through non-stop doing. You are worthy, even in stillness. Gemini risings. This is one of those transits that can feel like you're hitting a wall. Mars wants to move and Saturn says not so fast. But your job is to work with this energy and not fight against it. And that's exactly what I'm here to support you with. So Mars will be moving through your fifth house. And that's the part of your chart that rules creativity, self-expression, play, romance, and children. So this is the house where we want to shine and we want to take risks and show off a little. And Mars here can spark a real fire. Maybe you're bursting with ideas, you're craving more joy or adventure, or feeling the urge to take action on a creative project or with your kids. But then Saturn and Neptune will be in your 11th house of friends, groups, community, and long-term goals. And so with this opposition, it might feel as if the planets are saying, hold on, are you being responsible? Is this aligned with your bigger vision? So the opposition is like an energetic push and pull. You want to act from your heart. You want joy now. But Saturn is saying, only if it fits into the long game. So here's what you might experience with this transit. It's possible that you could feel blocked or shut down when you're trying to express yourself. It's also possible that there might be tension with friends, groups, or communities, especially if you're trying to go one direction and they expect something totally different from you. Also, there could be parenting challenges, especially if you're trying to connect or to support your child's self-expression, but you're facing limits of time, energy, or outside expectations. It's also possible that a creative project might stall or feel like it's under heavy scrutiny during this time. So this is not the time, Gemini rising. It's not the time to bulldoze through resistance. It's the time to slow down and to build wisely. So here's how I want you to work with the energy of this transit. I want you to honor the friction. So this opposition is revealing where your desires and your responsibilities are out of sync, okay? And that's really valuable information. So don't ignore it. Listen to it. Something is asking to be restructured. Also, focus on delayed gratification, okay? Because Saturn loves maturity. So ask yourself, can I still honor my creative spark while staying grounded in my long-term goals? Can I say no to something now in order to say yes to something bigger later? Also, pay attention to your inner child and your outer children if you are a parent. So whether it's your actual child or your own inner child, they have a need for play and freedom. And that's something that might be feeling suppressed right now. So it's okay to acknowledge the frustration, but create space for joy within safe and manageable containers. Also, be honest about your commitments. If you are overcommitted socially in your community or with a big goal that's really draining you, this is the perfect time to reassess. You may need to scale back or bring stronger boundaries into your group dynamics. And for those of you Gemini risings who are parents, here are some parenting tips for this transit. You might notice that your child is acting out more around this time, especially when it comes to needing attention or creative expression or play. And you might be feeling torn between showing up for them and handling everything else that's going on in your life. So give yourself some grace and remember, sometimes just 10 minutes of fully present time with your child can make a world of difference. And Mars in the fifth reminds us that joy heals and presence is power. So, overall, Gemini risings, Mars opposite Saturn and Neptune, it's not always easy energy to navigate through, but it's one of those moments that can really shape you into someone stronger, someone more focused, and more self aware. Cancer risings, this transit will hit close to home for you guys, literally. So, if you've been feeling pulled between your private life and your public obligations, or your need for rest, and your need to perform, this transit is bringing all of this energy to the surface. And your job is to work with it and not to fight against it. And that's exactly what I'm here to support you with. So, Cancer risings, Mars in Libra will be in your fourth house. And this can really stir up deep emotions, old wounds, or family conflicts. And it can make you feel like you need to protect your space or to defend your emotional needs or to take charge at home, maybe even fix everything all at once. But Saturn and Neptune in the 10th house will be demanding structure, discipline, and responsibility in your professional life. And it might also feel like the outside world is asking for your time and energy at the exact moment your inner world really needs you most. So, this can manifest as feeling emotionally overwhelmed while also being professionally overextended. Also, there could be tension between work and home, like a demanding job that's making it super hard for you to show up for your own family or for you to pay attention to your own emotional needs. There could also be You could also be feeling pressure to hold everything together on the outside while feeling like you're falling apart on the inside. And family conflicts or issues with your living situation might feel urgent or volatile. It's also possible that you feel like you're failing either at home or at work in your career because you're being stretched super, super thin. Also, watch out for emotional outbursts or physical exhaustion that come from trying to do everything, trying to do it all. This is a classic burnout setup, especially for Cancer risings, because you guys already feel deeply responsible when it comes to nurturing others. So, how can you work with this intense energy? I want you to give yourself permission to slow down, okay? Mars in the fourth will bring up the need to act on your emotional instincts, but please don't feel like you need to fix everything immediately all at once. Create calm inside before trying to solve the problems on the outside. Number two, set boundaries at work. So, if career or public responsibilities are taking over your life, it's time to speak up. And Saturn asks for long-term vision, but Mars reminds you that burnout serves absolutely no one. So tend to your inner world. Pay attention, okay? This is a time to listen to your body, to your emotions, and what's going on in your home. Because Mars in the fourth is asking for you to be the warrior in your private life. And that might mean protecting your peace, your children, or your energy. And finally, don't allow a sense of guilt to run the show. You may feel like you're failing in one area of life by not paying attention to another, but you're not. Okay? This opposition is only temporary, but it's showing you where you really need better systems, better boundaries, or emotional support. For those of you Cancer risings who are parents, here are some parenting tips for this transit. Now, this could be a time or a moment where your child is really needing more of your emotional presence, but you're also dealing with external demands or job-related stress. Your child may act out more around this time, and it's not because they're being difficult, but it's because they may be feeling tension at home, all right? Because Mars in the fourth can bring fire to the household, and it's really going to be up to you, Cancer rising parents, to be the grounding force. Even 5 minutes of undivided attention and soft eye contact can regulate both of your nervous systems. So let your home be a refuge, not another battlefield. So overall, Cancer risings, Mars opposite Saturn is your moment of truth. Where are you out of balance between your inner life and your outer obligations? And where have you been over-functioning? What is it that needs to change or shift? This transit can help you become the emotional leader of your life, can help you become someone who honors their own needs and holds space for growth. Leo rising, this is a mentally charged, high-pressure moment where your thoughts, words, and decisions may feel restricted or challenged by a larger truth or by life circumstances that seem out of your control. And your job is to work with this energy and not to fight against it. That's exactly what I'm here to support you with. So Leo risings, Mars in the third house will be fast-moving, restless, and mentally alert. You may feel a strong urge to speak your mind, to make decisions quickly, or solve your problems through action. It can also make your mind really sharp, but at the same time, impatient. So we'll also have Saturn and Neptune in your ninth house in the sign of Aries, and that might create friction with your long-term beliefs, your faith, or even legal or educational systems. Saturn here wants you to take things slow, to be wise and aligned with your higher truth and not reactive. So here are some things that might surface around the time of this transit. You might experience writer's block or delays in communication, or maybe you're feeling misunderstood, especially around topics that really challenge how you see the world. You might also be feeling frustration with a learning environment or a mentor or a teacher or belief system that feels really limiting or rigid. Or there could even be frustration when it comes to legal matters. There could also be issues with siblings or extended family or in-laws, especially if there's a communication breakdown or a boundary issue. So, how do you work with the energy of this transit, Leo risings? I want you to think before you speak. Think before you speak. Mars in the third house wants fast communication, but Saturn says use your words wisely. Choose clarity over speed. If you're tempted to react quickly, especially when it comes to writing, texting, or conversations, I want you to pause, okay? Also, don't abandon your big idea or your big picture. You might feel like you're drowning in errands and emails and stressful conversations, but don't lose sight of what you actually believe in. I want you to remember to come back to your why. Also, travel or legal delays may arise, so if you're planning a trip or you're dealing with paperwork, please be patient because Saturn in the ninth can bring some delays, but also think about it this way, long-term solutions if you stay organized. For those of you Leo risings who are parents, here are some parenting tips for this transit. So this may be a time when your child is struggling with school, with communication, or frustration around learning. And Mars in the third house can make children much more impatient, reactive, or even defiant, especially if they feel unheard. So, I want you to model calm, intentional communication and ask, what are you trying to say that you don't have the words for yet? It's a great time to teach your child that words are powerful tools and not weapons. And don't forget about your own inner child, okay? You might be feeling pressured to have all of the answers, but it's okay to say, I don't know, but I'm learning. So overall, Leo risings, Mars opposite Saturn and Neptune, is a moment of mental refinement. It's asking, what do you believe? And are your words, your thoughts, and habits aligned with that truth? Now, this might feel like a block, but it's actually a checkpoint. You're being asked to speak from wisdom instead of reaction, and to trust that your inner voice matters, even when the outer world is noisy. Virgo risings, this is a transit about earning versus sharing, self-worth versus dependency, and it often will highlight issues around power, trust, or scarcity, both material and emotional. So your job is to work with this energy and not to fight against it. And that's exactly what I'm here to support you with. So with Mars in your second house of money, finances, and self-esteem, you may feel a strong drive to improve your finances or to make confident decisions around your income or to take bold action to protect your resources and sense of value. But Saturn and Neptune will be in the eighth house, and the eighth house represents long-term obligations, debts, emotional or financial, and power dynamics that may be limiting your freedom. So some possible themes that you might experience are conflict around money, especially shared finances with a partner, family member, or business associate. There could also be a deep sense of frustration that you're giving more than you're receiving, or that someone else is holding power over your security. There's also the potential that you might be feeling a desire to become financially independent, but at the same time, you could be dealing with fears or restrictions around leaving behind a financial tie or connection or emotional dependency. There could also be challenges related to inheritances, taxes, debt, or energetic exchange that really force you to get clear about your boundaries. So here's how to work with this transit instead of getting overwhelmed by it. I want you to reclaim your worth. So Mars in your second house says, it's time to remember what you're worth and start acting like it. And that might mean asking for what you deserve, or setting financial goals, or creating stronger boundaries around your time and your energy. Also, don't avoid the hard conversations, because Saturn in the 8th may bring up awkward but necessary topics, such as joint finances, emotional entanglements, intimacy, or trust. And avoiding these conversations won't help. So move slowly, but stay honest. Also, take action to stabilize. This is a powerful time to get grounded in your finances and to create a budget and review debts and to set boundaries with people who drain your energy or resources. Also, you can transform your relationship with power. So are you giving your power away to someone else? Or are you clinging to control because you fear loss? This is a karmic opportunity to shift your patterns and come into deeper balance. For those of you Virgo risings who are parents, here are some parenting tips for this transit. So this transit might highlight financial stress or emotional overwhelm in your family system. And you might feel pressure to provide materially, or you may notice yourself reacting more strongly to issues around control, fairness, or emotional responsibility. This is a great time to model what empowered self-worth really looks like. Show your child that it's okay to say no, and that it's okay to ask for what you need and to take care of your own energy. And remind them that being generous doesn't mean you have to abandon yourself. So overall, Virgo rising, Mars opposing Saturn and Neptune is a deep opportunity to align your self-worth with your soul growth. It's about choosing your power, your value, and your integrity, especially when the pressure is on. You might feel blocked, but that block is an invitation. Think of it that way. What's being asked is a deeper commitment to your own healing, to your own resources, and your own path forward. Libra rising. This is a transit with powerful energetic tension between asserting your truth and navigating relationship realities that may be murky, heavy, or shifting. And it's your job to work with this energy and not to fight against it. And that's what I'm here to support you with. So Libra rising, this is a high stakes moment around identity and relationships. With Mars in your first house of self, you may be feeling driven to take action, to speak up and move forward and assert your independence. And you may also be reconnecting with your personal will or your I am energy. But Saturn conjunct Neptune will be sitting in your 7th house, and that's the house of partnerships, the house of marriage, the house of business partnerships and long-term commitments. And that might bring up themes of relationship pressure, confusion, disillusionment, or karmic reckonings with the people that you have in your life. So here are some ways that this energy could manifest. You might be feeling a growing desire to reclaim your identity or your autonomy within a relationship. Or you could be feeling like you're outgrowing a partnership, or like the relationship doesn't really reflect the person that you are becoming. You might also feel yourself wanting to take bold action, but maybe you feel blocked. Or maybe you feel confused by your partner's response. Also, clarity or disillusionment about what's been unspoken or idealized in a relationship could be coming up. There may also be a need to renegotiate some agreements or to really face what's not working anymore. So here's how you can co-create with this energy and not get consumed by it. You can choose self-honesty first. So you may feel tempted to people please just to keep the peace. But this is a moment to be real with yourself about what you want and about who you are. So don't force clarity in your relationships. I want you to create space for it. And with Neptune in the 7th house, the truth may take more time to fully appear. So try not to make big decisions while everything's foggy. I want you to observe instead. Also, watch out for old relationship patterns that may be resurfacing. Saturn could be bringing karmic lessons around boundaries, commitment, and self-sacrifice. And you want to ask yourself, what am I being asked to learn again? Also, protect your identity. So this is a time to stand in who you are, even if it means disappointing somebody else. Mars will give you courage, use the energy that way. But Saturn also requires that you have integrity. So for those of you Libra risings who are parents, here are some parenting tips for this transit. So this transit may show up in how you balance your role as a caregiver or partner with your personal identity. You might feel tension between showing up for others and staying grounded in your truth. This is a great opportunity for you to model what healthy boundaries look like for your children and show them that being loving doesn't mean abandoning yourself for others, really. So overall, Libra rising, this is your cosmic invitation to remember being in a relationship doesn't have to mean that you've got to lose yourself. You are a co-creator of your life and your partnerships. And the more you step into your truth, the more aligned your connections will become. Scorpio rising. This transit brings a deep internal challenge. You might feel caught between needing to rest and withdraw and being pushed to show up, perform, or take care of others. And it can be frustrating, draining, but also enlightening at the same time. So your job is going to be to work with this energy and not to fight against it. That's exactly what I'm here to support you with. So Scorpio rising, Mars is going to be in your 12th house, and your energy will be feeling as if it's being directed inward. You may feel tired, foggy, emotionally heavy, or like you're moving through molasses, okay? And your body and spirit might be asking for rest and reflection, or even solitude. At the same time, we're going to have Saturn and Neptune in your 6th house. And there might be a little bit of pressure when it comes to your daily life, your workload, your routines, your health habits, or your service to others. And you may feel obligated to keep going and to hold the routine together even when your internal self is begging you to pause and take a break. So here's how this transit could show up for you. You might be feeling fatigue, burnout, or sleep issues, especially if you've been overworking or ignoring your inner world. There could also be conflict between your need for solitude and the never-ending to-do list that you have in front of you. You've got to get so much done. You could even face conflict when it comes to work, your workplace, or with your colleagues. Also, health challenges that force you to slow down or create better habits could show up. Now, this transit is a reality check, Scorpio. So if your lifestyle doesn't support your soul, your body will start to speak about it. So how should you navigate this energy with wisdom? Number one, I want you to prioritize restorative time. So even if you can't take a full break, I want you to carve out space for rest, meditation, or solitude. Mars in the 12th means your power is being recharged behind the scenes, not in public. Also, reevaluate your workload. So Saturn in the 6th isn't just about responsibility, it's about sustainability. What can you delegate? What can you delay? Or what can you do without? What can you delete? Think about that. Also, listen to your body. If you're pushing yourself through exhaustion or ignoring your intuition, your physical health might begin to reflect it. So Saturn here asks you to take your well-being seriously. Now, for those of you Scorpio risings who are parents, here are some parenting tips for this transit. So this transit might feel like pressure to keep everything going, everything running, from meals to schedules, while secretly needing a moment to breathe or emotionally decompress. So this is a great time to teach your children about balance between doing and being. and you can really model rest. Let them see you take care of yourself, even if it means saying no to one more errand or task. And that's a powerful life lesson for your children to observe in and of itself. So, overall, Scorpio risings, Mars opposite Saturn and Neptune is your invitation to rebuild your relationship with rest, with healing, and responsibility. You are being called to stop running on empty and create rhythms that support your spirit and your body. You may feel pulled in two different directions, but that's where alignment begins. You're not meant to just survive your schedule. You're really here to live with presence and purpose. Sagittarius risings. With this transit, you're focused on community, collaboration, and future vision. But you may feel confused because it feels like things are slowing down for you. So your job is to work with this energy and not to fight against it. And that's exactly what I'm here to support you with. So Sagittarius, Mars will be in your 11th house of friends, groups, organizations, and long-term wishes. And it may have you feeling fired up about your goals. You might be feeling more social, more focused on big picture plans, activism, collaboration, or group work. So it's a great time for networking and pushing forward with your dreams. We also will have Saturn and Neptune opposing Mars in the 5th house, and they will be reminding you of the emotional cost of trying to do it all. So the 5th house is about joy, love, creativity, also children. And Saturn here at times can feel a little heavy. It can bring some self-doubt, some creative blocks, or like a sense that joy has become a job. And Neptune could also make things a little more murky, foggy, confusing. So here's how this could play out in your life. You might be feeling torn between social obligations and personal passions. It's almost like you want to show up for your friends or your community, but your heart just isn't in it. Also, there could be a creative or romantic block where something that once brought you joy now feels like pressure or responsibility. There could also be conflict between group goals and your role as a parent or as a creative, and feeling like you're being pulled in opposite directions. I also want you to watch out for conflict between you and a romantic partner or someone you're dating or a friend. And finally, there could also be some disappointment when it comes to social dynamics. So maybe a friend or a team member isn't showing up for you in the way that you had hoped. So let's talk about how to work with this energy wisely and intentionally. I want you to say yes to what lights you up, Sagittarius. Saturn in the 5th can make you doubt your creativity or your passion, but it also asks you to take your joy seriously and to protect time for what nourishes your spirit. Also, try not to overcommit when it comes to community at the cost of yourself. So you may be feeling pulled into group dynamics or trying to people please in social or professional circles. So check in and ask yourself, am I abandoning my own truth just to fit in? Also, be honest when it comes to love and parenting. If you're feeling drained or uninspired in romance or parenting, honor that feeling without guilt. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It means that your heart just needs a little bit of TLC. Now, for you Sag risings who are parents, here are some parenting tips for this transit. So this transit might bring up some frustration around your child's needs versus your social or career responsibilities. And you may feel like you have to choose between being a present parent and showing up in the world. Here's the thing. Saturn in the fifth is showing you where your child doesn't need perfection, they just need your presence. So be honest about your limits. It's okay, all right? And let go of guilt and model for your children what it looks like to balance contribution to the world with honoring your own heart. So overall, Sagittarius risings, Mars opposite Saturn and Neptune, is a cosmic checkpoint for you. Are you building a future that aligns with your heart's truth? Or are you performing a role that leaves your inner light being dimmed? This transit may feel frustrating, but it's asking you to reclaim your joy and to protect your energy and to refine your long-term goals so they actually reflect who you are now, not who you used to be. Capricorn rising. This is a major moment of realignment between your career ambitions and your emotional needs. And your job is to work with this energy and not to fight against it. And that's exactly what I'm here to support you with. So Capricorn risings, Mars will be in your 10th house, and Mars in the 10th is ambitious, driven, and very visible. And you may be working toward a big goal or stepping into leadership or feeling pressure to perform and deliver. Then we've got Saturn and Neptune conjunct in Aries in your 4th house of home and family. And they are reminding you that without a strong emotional foundation, all of that success from the 10th can feel hollow or unsustainable. And this transit really highlights a classic Capricorn rising challenge. And that's all about balancing the pressure to achieve with the need for emotional security and rest. So here's how this might show up in your life. You may be feeling driven to succeed, but exhausted from carrying so much responsibility at home. There also could be a professional opportunity that really demands your attention. But at the same time, remember, your personal life needs healing or boundaries. Also, there could be conflict between your public image and what's really happening behind closed doors. Okay? And there's also the potential that you may experience tension with a parent, an employer, or an authority figure. So for you, Cap rising, this is a cosmic checkpoint. If your outer world is thriving, but your inner world is unstable, Saturn will call it out. So how do we make this energy work? How do we work with this? Number one, I want you to reconnect to your roots. So even as you're striving for success, Saturn is saying to you, don't neglect your inner foundation. Whether for you that means family or your emotional life or simply having a safe space to land, remember to ground yourself. Also, don't sacrifice rest for recognition. Yes, Mars wants action, and Saturn demands integrity. And if you're burning out in your career, it's time to revise your pace. Also, set boundaries with both work and family. You don't have to be everything to everyone. And I want you to protect your energy where it matters most. Also, honor your emotional needs. This is a very important time to release old family patterns, to heal generational wounds, or to create emotional safety in your home. Now, for those of you Cap risings who are parents, here are some parenting tips for this transit. So this transit may highlight the tension between work demands and family presence, and you may feel guilty for not being there enough or frustrated that home responsibilities are slowing down your goals. But this is your chance to really model what healthy leadership looks like, not just in the boardroom, but also in your living room as well. Your children will benefit most from your emotional presence, not your perfection. And Saturn wants you to build a legacy that starts with stability and care at home. So overall, Capricorn rising, Mars opposite Saturn and Neptune will be a powerful moment of truth for you. And you will be invited to ask, what am I building? And does it support my inner world too? So this is your invitation to create success from the inside out and to lead with integrity and to make sure your personal life can hold the weight of your professional dreams. Aquarius rising. This transit will highlight your worldview, your mindset, communication, and how you seek meaning in your life. And your job is to work with this energy and not to fight against it. And that's exactly what I'm here to support you with. So Aquarius rising, Mars in the 9th house will ignite your hunger for expansion. So it could show up maybe through travel, through study, writing, teaching, or pursuing something new that really opens your mind or your spirit. You'll also have Saturn and Neptune in your 3rd house of communication, and they will be showing you where old thought patterns, inner doubt, or communication limitations are still running the show. And this can really feel like a head versus heart moment where you want to leap, but something in your environment or your inner dialogue says, not yet. So here's how this tension could show up in your life. You might want to publish or to speak or to teach or travel, but maybe you're dealing with fear or writer's block, or logistical delays might be slowing you down. Also, it's possible that sibling or neighbor-related responsibilities or stress could distract you from bigger picture goals during this time. Also, you may be facing doubt when it comes to your communication skills, or your mindset habits may be blocking you from really stepping into your power and claiming your voice. So here's how to make the most of this transit in a healthy way. I want you to slow down your mind in order to expand your vision. So Mars wants speed and Saturn demands structure. So don't rush your big ideas. I want you to refine them and they'll go even farther. Also, audit your inner dialogue. The 3rd house rules your thoughts. So what are you telling yourself that contradicts the bold vision that you're trying to create? Also, try not to get discouraged by delays. So if travel, teaching, or publishing plans are stalled, I want you to trust that Saturn is helping you to build a more solid foundation for success later. And also, speak carefully, not fearfully. If a difficult conversation comes up, I want you to take your time and think before you react, because Saturn in the 3rd wants maturity in your communication style. For you Aquarius risings that are parents, here are some parenting tips for this transit. So this transit may really highlight stress between your big picture parenting goals and your daily communication patterns with your child. And maybe you're trying to teach a bigger lesson or to instill certain values, but everyday frustrations or school-related details are really getting in the way. The key is to bring consistency and calm communication to the table, even when things feel tense. Your child may also need help reframing negative thought loops, and it's giving you the opportunity to be the grounding voice that helps them to zoom out and to see the bigger picture. So Aquarius risings, Mars opposing Saturn and Neptune, will be a call for you to align your thoughts with your vision and to bring structure to your growth. And don't lose faith just because things are moving slow or they feel slow. This is the groundwork that will carry you into your next chapter. And you're not being denied You're being asked to build something real. Pisces rising. This transit is calling attention to your relationship with power, boundaries, money, self-worth, and emotional entanglements. And your job is to work with it. Work with the energy. Don't fight against it. And that's exactly what I'm here to support you with. So Pisces, Mars will be in your 8th house, and that can stir up deep emotional charges, especially anything that's been hidden, repressed, or shared too freely. And that might include money, intimacy, sexual dynamics, energetic exchanges, or karmic ties with others. At the same time, you're going to have Saturn conjunct Neptune in Aries in your 2nd house of money and self-esteem and what you value. And they will be demanding clarity around what you value, what you own, and what you're no longer willing to give away for free. So here's how this transit could show up for you. There could be a disagreement over money, especially when it comes to shared finances or debt or unequal energetic exchanges. There could also be power struggles in intimate relationships or emotional enmeshment. Now, during this time, it's also possible that you may be feeling lack. You might be feeling a little bit insecure, or there might be fear around survival or material support. And you could also realize that there's a need to create firmer boundaries around your time, your money, and emotional labor. So how can you make the most out of this energy? I want you to reclaim your power. If you've been energetically or financially entangled in a situation that no longer serves you, Mars is giving you the courage to cut cords and to let go with intention, but not resentment. Also, take your word seriously. Saturn and Neptune in your 2nd, they want you to know that you're valuable, but they're going to test you until you act like it, until you show it. So ask for what you need and protect what you've earned. I also want you to avoid impulsive financial decisions. This transit can stir up fear-based spending or emotional reactions around money. So take a deep breath before you act and get the full picture. Also, watch out for projection. It's a really big theme with the 8th house. So Mars in the 8th can trigger blame, jealousy, or power plays. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling? What belongs to me and what's theirs? And focus on emotional maturity, because Saturn rewards those who take the high road. Conflict is possible with a mentor, a teacher, a guide, or in-laws. So don't avoid having hard conversations. Just have them with a sense of grounded integrity. And for those of you Pisces who are parents, here are parenting tips for this transit. This transit may stir up stress around support, security, or emotional intensity within the household. You might feel like you're doing a lot of the emotional heavy lifting or struggling to balance your own needs with those of your children. This is a powerful moment to model self-worth and emotional boundaries, and to teach your child that it's okay to say no. Help them understand what healthy sharing and energetic safety looks like, especially when it comes to time, attention, and emotions. So overall, Pisces rising, Mars opposite Saturn and Neptune is a deep invitation to restructure the way you share your time, your energy, and value. It's time to move from sacrifice to a deep sense of sovereignty. You're being called to build stronger foundations internally and externally so that you can give from a place of wholeness, not depletion. This Mars opposite Saturn Neptune transit can be intense, yes, but I want you to think about it as an invitation to pause, reflect, and realign, and to stop pushing blindly through life and to start co-creating with the cosmic energy that's always guiding you. So whether this transit challenges your relationships, your routines, your vision, or your sense of self, please remember this. You are not a victim of the planets. You are a co-creator with them. Their energy doesn't show up to punish you. It shows up to evolve you along your path. Always remember that. As always, my goal is to help you reach stellar alignment and that sacred space where you're living with intention and purpose and full of awareness of your highest path. That's what I call stellar alignment. So if this video helped you and it helped you to understand how this energy might be showing up in your life, please give it a like, subscribe, and share it with someone else who could really use a little cosmic clarity during this time. And if you'd like personal insight into how this transit will be affecting your individual natal chart, you can schedule a one-to-one astrology session with me. The link will be in the description below. So take care of your energy, honor your process, and trust the timing of your life. You're doing better than you think, and the stars are always on your side.